If you lose service, you know who to blame.
If you lose service, that means it's the end.
Oh, someone's gonna only hear that part. I like it. Yes, good. Causing panic in the streets. What's going on, everyone? I'm Jericho. This is Zap. We are Bandit Future, the 6-time international award-winning pop hip-hop duo who make clean, fun music that everyone can listen to with a sound that's uniquely Californian. And you are right now, in this very moment, tuned into the Last Circus podcast, where we talk about things that are funny, interesting, and just ridiculous. So do us a big favor before we get started. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, and share this video with at least 2 people that have a face. All right.
That's a pretty good intro.
Thank you. So, Zap, I got a question for you. What would you do if tomorrow everything
I didn't have a face?
No, tomorrow the internet's just shut down. The internet, GPS, everything. If it all shut down, what would you do?
That would be... I'd hide, really, because I know everyone else would lose their minds. It'd be chaos in the streets.
Well, what if I told you that it is in the process of happening?
What?
Okay, so this is
blasphemy.
This is not conspiracy theory. This is a lesson in science, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. So, if you all are aware, we have 2 poles on the planet, the North and the South Pole, right? So every 300, 400,000 years, they change polarity. I don't know why that happens, but the North becomes South and the South becomes North. So if you open a compass right now, or your compass app, it'll go north, right? But imagine it going the opposite way, right? And that is precisely what scientists believe is happening at this moment. So the magnetic field, we're talking about science, right? The magnetic field is something that protects us from all the bad stuff in space, because space is just a death trap, right? So all of the radiation, all the cosmic rays, all that kind of bad stuff that could affect us is being blocked by this field. The problem is that when it starts to shift, typically every 300,000 blah, blah, blah years, it all starts to get less protective as the shift happens. So the weird thing is that it hasn't happened for 788,000 years. And so everyone's like, oh, it kind of past due. But scientists have started to notice that the last 150 years, there's 2 North Poles. The physical North Pole that never changes, and there's the magnetic North Pole that kind of fluctuates with passing of time. So in the last 150 years, this North Pole, this magnetic North Pole, actually shifted about 25 feet a year. And so what that means is that it implies that things are starting to change, right? And there's actually a big area of the world in the Southern Hemisphere where it's already flipped. So like certain devices don't work. When they have satellites go over that area, they'll actually cover up the equipment, because I don't know how you do that, but if it gets exposed to the radiation in that zone, it will stop working, right? So that's what's happening already. Now, the problem is that if this continues, it will disrupt everything. Everything. Ooh. I mean, everything. So at this moment, if there's a solar storm, because you guys know the sun, right? It's a big, up there. It's a big
You guys know the sun, right? Yeah.
A really bad solar storm at this precise moment would cost the U.S. $44.5 billion a day in damages that it causes to all of the technology. Okay. And that's with the level of protection that the magnetic field provides right now. So imagine if it keeps getting worse, this protection will go away. And not only that, but physically we'll all be affected. So the things that are affected by the magnetic... Well, here's the thing. Besides technology...
Please tell me we get mutant powers.
Well, we do get exposed to more radiation. Now, if you're going to go Bruce Banner on it, then good for you. But I think all that means is more cancer. So boo on that.
Oh, that's not fun.
I know. And then it'll apparently affect the migratory patterns of lots of animals. So they'll start ending up in places that they have no business being because they're lost, basically. And they say that that's actually been happening, which is why they once in a while have these animals from some region of the world show up because they got lost, because they can't read the magnetic field.
Crazy.
So it's not saying that we're all going to die. It's not one of those like doomsday things, but it's just like this is a very real possibility. And of course, the big game now is people predicting when it's going to happen, right? So there's a YouTube channel saying magnetic shift 2028, as if it's a presidential campaign, right? Now the reality of it is that it is a process that lasts about 1,000 years. So what we don't know is what part of it are we in, if we're in it at all, but it feels like it's happening. So in the very near future, all the cool stuff that we're making technologically, from AI to whatever, might all stop working because of this. And so it's like, what can we do? So, Zap, you are a scholarly man. What are you going to do about this?
I feel like we always push things to the very edge. And then, like, when it's just impending disaster, we're like, oh, okay, we'll do this and fix it. But 25 feet sounds 25 feet a year. You said it shifts. That sounds like a substantial amount.
It is, and historically, it's been much less. And then just of course, they've only been keeping track the last few hundred years. But it said since 1850-ish. They just started to notice, it's starting to go a little more. And so what apparently happens is it gets faster. I always thought that this was related to that tectonic plate thing where like all of a sudden all of the land on the world kind of, and then that is a bad thing. But I don't know if that's proven to be true. But this magnetic shift has happened, I believe, 188 times in the history of the Earth. So they're just waiting for this to happen. But when it does, it's just going to be, there's going to be measures, but all of the measures that they're trying to, establish are hinged on the using technology to fix it. And so this can kind of wipe that all out if it gets bad enough. So there's a part of the world now, a big region, like covers maybe like a fifth of the southern hemisphere. If you go there, your devices don't work quite as well. There's spots in the world that are like dead spots. There's one in Joshua Tree. Nothing works there. It's just like these zones that kind of naturally exist. But just imagine that happening on a broad scale. So what are we gonna? What we gotta make? Remember, we're Bandit Future. We're solution oriented. We have to figure out what to do right now about this.
I'm not buying it, man. This sounds like some sci-fi stuff. Like by the time it's a problem, like just think about how fast we are going. Like the Elon Musk of the world, and like what's the other guy? Richard Branson, is that the guy? There's another guy who had like a space thing going on.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I don't know that guy, but
NASA, all these, they're gonna figure this stuff out. Like, I think of like the sci-fi shows that I've seen before, where they have like this something that protects entire planets, or they create. It may even create some kind of artificial magnetic something or another. Like something will be created to prevent this from happening.
Okay, I hope you're right. Otherwise, my great grandbaby is going to have some problems. But check it out. Well, to have great grandbabies, you should probably start with just having babies, right? So, anyways, I'll work on that later. My rebuttal to you, sir.
Oh, rebuttal! Hey. I didn't know it was a debate.
Sure it is. How dare you? How dare you mudsling against my campaign? But no, it's the problem that they're having is that, or that they're talking about, because these are people that are, I forget this one lady's name, but she's like on the committee to fix this, right? And the problem is that no matter what they do, the problem of the source of the problem isn't, like, you can't build a bubble and then protect against something out there when the thing that'll make the bubble stop working is already in the bubble. Like, the problem is the Earth itself. If this happens, we'd have to find a way to use it to our, like, somehow we'd have to, how does she say it? I don't know much about magnets, but I just know if you have one that has like two sides, right? The polarity. It's like we'd have to use the power of that shift to work against the shift. It's something like that, and it's way over my head, but that seems to be the issue. So yeah, I see in my head building up. I've seen the shows where like they build a shield and then the stuff comes out from outer space, but it's like if the shield stops working because there's like some problem internally, that's what they say we're dealing with. Is it hokey? Is it hocus pocus? I don't know. I'm not a scientist, but it's just something to keep track of because apparently, according to their calculations, you'll see more problems, more issues with the internet connection, Wi-Fi, all that kind of stuff, up to the point where it gets really like impossible to maintain, and then it'll start to fix itself, and then in 1,000 years we're on the other side, something like that.
I think we're fine.
He's not buying it. Zap's not buying it.
Just think of like in the small time that we've been on Earth, the technological advances from like when we were a kid to now are like just mind blowing, and just like in a mere 30, 40 years, like
True.
Talking about hundreds of years from now of this being a problem, and like we might even live here in 500 years. Like we might just be able to like peace out and like be chilling on another planet. Like, oops, we messed that one up. Well,
let's start over.
Let's do this again on Mars. It's cool.
I see your point. So Zap is not worried. So it's just something to think about, but I didn't know that was a thing. So just keep an eye out if you feel that things are getting worse.
If you lose service.
If you lose service, you know who to blame.
If you lose service, it means it's the end.
Oh, someone's gonna only hear that part. I like it. Yes, good. Causing panic in the streets. That's what we do.
This message is not approved by the Band of Future or any other subsidiaries. Please be advised.
Subsidiaries? Yeah. It's news to me. Well, cool. Well, let us know in the comments what you think. What do you think about this? I guess it's not a doomsday thing, but it's something that could potentially affect all of us if it goes down. Magnetic pole shifts, man. 2028. Let's put a date on it. Why not? Even though I already said it doesn't just happen one time, but no one's going to hear the other part of it. So in 2028,
it's all going down. Yeah.
What are you going to do in 2028? Yes, please take things out of context and spread the information.
Okay, that's going to be the title of this video.
Yes, I like it. Okay,
humanity will end in 2028. Watch for details.
I'm with it. You can check out that channel because they swear by it, I suppose. So anyway, yeah, make sure to like, subscribe, share, leave a comment what you think about this, and hopefully we'll see you guys in 2029. All right.